Hi y'all, welcome to Dig It Homesteading. I am Jamie and I appreciate you showing up for today's video. This is going to be a little bit of a controversial one as I'm going to try a different method of canning pickles today because we have a lot of cucumbers. They're pickling cucumbers. I think they're the Boston pickling cucumbers, the variety. And I planted a whole lot and I planted them super late. So I'm so happy that I'm getting this much harvest, that I'm in the situation that I'm in. By the way, that's my hair wrap. I just got out the shower. But anyway, we're leaving for a couple of days and I can't have all these cucumbers just sitting around. You are gonna hear my dogs drinking. Sorry. For some reason, my mom's in the kitchen. We need a drink. But anyway, we're leaving for a couple days. All these cucumbers have got to have something done to them, and I have a short window of time where I'm able to do that. So I am going to try what's called open kettle, and I know people through their whole life have been doing this type of canning. Our government in the United States tells us it's an unsafe practice, so I'll leave the decision up to you if you feel comfortable doing it or not. And as I said, this is a test for me. I've never I've never canned this way before, but I did want to try it out because who wants soggy pickles? And we tried a fridge pickle recipe and oh, so good. So I'm going to do that same recipe with the open canning process, and I'm going to take you along and we'll see. Hopefully we can get all these we're going to get all these cucumbers pickled. Y'all count how many times I call these pickles in this video. It has been a running theme lately. Our whole family's been calling cucumbers pickles. I don't know why. But anyway, we're going to get started, see how this goes. Thanks for joining me. So to start, you can see some of these are yellowing. 3 of us are going out and looking for cucumbers on a daily basis, and we're still missing them. So this is about the size that I want for pickles. And these were green when we picked them. Well, we just eat these as regular cucumbers and salads and what have you. So we do have a few here that we are not going to use unless one of my jars is a little under full. Then I'll probably stick this one in there. And I think we're gonna do slices for burgers and spears because we like both. So we're gonna get set up. I got most of my stuff out here and we're gonna see how this works all at once to see if this is actually gonna save me time and energy or if it's just gonna be a process I'm having to learn and waste my time. Okay, so I've seen 2 different ways so far that people do this, where they put their jars on a cookie sheet and then pack all their solid ingredients like the cucumbers, garlic, your dill tops, things like that into it, and then throw all of that with your rings into the oven while your brine's going. I don't know how that's going to work. I feel like heating up the cucumbers is going to potentially make them soggy, and I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to get this other way set up for us to try out today. First things first, I'm going through sorting. There's another big one. I'll have to decide. But I'm trying to find ones that are right about the size of a quart jar. And then some of these look a little funky, so they're going in my slice pickle pile, and then I'll have a spear pickle pile. So I'm gonna just go through and sort all these. Like this one, it must have been picked a couple of days ago and it just wasn't fully pollinated, I don't believe, but it should be fine. I'll just use part of it, or I might not use any of it. It might be for the chickens. But I'm gonna spread all these out and then we'll get started. Now all those are sorted. I'm gonna get all my jars set up on my cookie sheet, and these are all quart jars, and I have no idea how many I'm gonna need because it has been a long time since I've actually pickled cucumbers. So I'm also going to set the rings and the lids in here, and then I'm going to move them out of the way for now, and then we're going to start our brine. or we may cut the cucumbers first. I don't really know yet. I want to get this as efficient as possible so the brine is ready, the jars are ready, and the cucumbers are ready all at the same time. Okay, so we are going to get our jars in the oven at 250 and we're going to have them in there for 20 minutes. I am just going to do my empty jars like I said, and we'll have them in there while we're doing everything else. Unfortunately, something spilled over in my oven and we haven't cleaned it up yet, so I might get a little smoky today, and my smoke alarm already likes to get all kinds of crazy. You will hear my AC, y'all. It's hard to do anything here in the Texas heat, so that's a necessary noise for me. And the vent might become necessary for me. I'll try to keep that out as much as possible, but like I said, we need to clean our oven. Need to remember that. So I'm gonna start chopping and making the brine, and I will show you what I do in those steps as well. I will link this recipe down below, and we are going to just double the recipe and see how far we get. I'm okay if this many pickles don't seal or if an issue comes up. So I'd much prefer to test on a smaller scale, a new method for myself. That way if it all fails or if we hate it, we don't have a whole bunch of food that's wasted. That way whenever I do a huge batch of things, we don't have a huge batch, we only have this little bit to get through. And I've seen that a lot of people that have pickles that don't turn out right will chop it up or put it in the food processor and make pickle relish. That's a great idea. So please leave down in the comments any ideas or tips you have, or even a better version, excuse me, of what I'm doing down here, and I would appreciate it. So to start, we need 1 1/4 cups of white vinegar per recipe, so I'm going to do 2 1/2 cups, and this is brand spanking new. Hadn't even opened it. Okay, so that's our 2 1/2 since I'm doubling, and we're going to use this pot. It has got, it's seen better days. The kids have burned some stuff on it, and it's still going to work for what we want to do. So 2 1/2 cups of that, and then we need 3 tablespoons of kosher salt. So we'll actually need 6 tablespoons. Yep, this is the one I want. I like this crooked one. And this kosher salt definitely needs to get used up. It has been in my cabinet a couple of years, and I'm glad I found it again because I had lost it. So this is a great project to use up what I got going on that needs to be used up. I might just open it. I feel like there's a block in it. I don't know about y'all, but here things tend to clump up super easy. So sometimes we have to just go in and break it up. Yep, I definitely see a clump. Back to its original form. Okay, how many did I do? That was like 1 1/2, right? That's what I think. So we'll do our other half. I'm trying to keep it over this pot because it's dripping salt. So that was 3, 4, that's not quite 5. We'll say 6, and I am going to put a bit extra because when I made this as a fridge pickle recipe, it was not quite salty enough. So I'm just going to go through and grab the rest of this free salt in here, except for the cardboard, and add I don't know, maybe an extra tablespoon. We're just gonna have to take the big guy out. He's being non-cooperative. Okay, so maybe a tablespoon, maybe a tablespoon and a half more. And do the same for your own preference. We thought it needed a little bit more salt for our family. You might need to be a lower sodium, and that's fine. Do what you need to do. And then we need to get 2 tablespoons of sugar. I also opted out of that. We don't want sugar in our pickles. 2 cups of cold water. Let me go get 4 cups of cold water and I'll be right back. Alright, got our 4 cups. Get that all added. And 2 tablespoons of coriander seeds. I don't have coriander seeds. I just have this pickling spice. And I used that last time. It was fine. And 2 tablespoons per recipe. Y'all, I think there's some cardboard that I do not want floating around in my brine. Okay, that's better. 2 tablespoons of coriander seeds, or you can use the pickling spice. I'm not going to quite use as many. Maybe 1.5. Because I don't remember how much I used before. But that looks about right. And that's basically what my measurement was the last time. So just about right might be just about right. I don't know if I said, but for this video, I am going to wait to put my jars in the oven until I have my brine going and I'm already chopping the pickle. Told you I was going to say it again. And I'm already chopping the cucumbers. That way it doesn't get too hot in here and I can just, you know, continue on about everything. And I think the timing will work out as well. So y'all let me know how you think the timing will work out better, if you have a better idea, or what your timing is. What's up is supposed to be 6 garlic cloves. I am not about to cut all those garlic cloves today. So we're going to take the help from the store and get pre-minced garlic going. And I'll tell you about how many tablespoons I end up doing. We like a lot of garlic for your reference, so if you don't like a whole lot of garlic, then do a little bit less. So about 4.5, 5 almost tablespoons of garlic. It's about 6 cloves, right? I don't really know because I always add garlic. Alright, next up we have 1 teaspoon of mustard seed. So I will be adding 2. And I just have these, not ready to use mine from outside yet. Still haven't decided what project I want to do with that. So that's our mustard seed. And this also calls for red pepper. And I am just going to use this dried red pepper. And again, if you don't eat spicy, don't use it. And I'm just adding it till I think it's good for my family. Let's see. It said 1/4 teaspoon. I put that much, which is probably teaspoon, maybe 2. And then dill sprigs. We can't grow dill. I don't know what the dill is. Did y'all hear him laugh? That was corny, I know, sorry. I'm so sorry. So I just have dill, dried dill from the store. And it says 16 dill sprigs.
Just make sure you're diligent with your menu.
Did you hear that? Make sure you're diligent with your menu. Coming from the peanut gallery in there. We like dill, so I'm gonna put that much. That's probably almost 2 tablespoons. And then we're gonna put this on this back burner out of my way and turn it on high. Get it stirred up a little bit. Clean up my salt that dripped everywhere. And start cutting these cucumbers. Okay, so we are going to start with the spears because I don't want to use 2 bowls. And I think I might have enough for 1 quart. But I don't know. You know what we'll do? To find out, maybe we'll start with those. That way I can see if I have enough. And there's some bite marks. I'm just going to cut that out and check. It doesn't have to be perfect for my spears. But you do want to make sure you always cut off the blossom end of your cucumbers because it has enzymes in it that will make your cucumbers wilt. And there's also a way to salt and ice water your cucumbers, I believe in the fridge, which is why I haven't done it. I don't have a second refrigerator that I can just dedicate to a giant bowl full of cucumbers and ice water until I get to this project. But I will be interested in trying that out at some point. And I am just going to get all of these sliced up. And they're not going to be perfect. And I'm just going to add them to the jar so I can see if I have enough of the ugly ones to fill up my jar. Okay, so that worked out perfect because you want about a 1-inch headspace to do this. So I'm just going to go shake all these out and then continue on with the spears. Same thing applies with this. And I most of the time just do top and bottom, but I just go straight down. And depending on how wide it is, I'll cut this in thirds or just down in half. This one's small enough. We're just going to have some slightly fatter spears. Without throwing them on the floor. And those are about the same. And they're all just going to go in this bowl while it's cardboard. I feel like I've got cardboard everywhere. But anyway, I'm going to continue with this and I will catch you up in just a few minutes. Okay, the brine is just now come up to a boil and I've got this whole bowl full of spears and I'm going to stop for now. I still have a few 6 or 7 cucumbers sitting over here that are small enough to go in these jars, so we'll see if this is enough for now. And if I need more, then I could just quickly chop them up to cram them into jars as well. And just so you know, these will not go to waste. We will stick these in the fridge, all these extra big ones, and my son usually walks around and eats a whole cucumber for himself. And my daughter does as well. So over the next couple days we'll tear through these, and anything that's left that might start being not necessarily good enough to eat will go to the chickens. And I am going to start my oven and get it at 250 and get my jars put in. And I did have to take out my top rack for my jars to fit, so keep that in mind. You don't want to have to pull out a hot rack before you stick them in there. You getting choked out by the vinegar?
I don't know, maybe.
I know I am. So, to spare me and to spare you from having to hear my smoke alarm going off because you know, oven needs to be cleaned, we'll bring you back in a minute, but I need to get this vent going. Okay, so I've just pulled the jars out of the oven, and we are going to try and carefully pack our jars. And I do have a rag to help me because I usually will pack jars on their side like this so I can fit more in. just like that. And I will keep putting them in until I get all the gaps filled, still retaining that 1-inch headspace. And we're going to continue until all our jars are filled. Same thing with our sliced ones. I'm going to put it in the same jar that I was using earlier. Trying not to touch the sides of our jars with our fingers because they are absolutely 250 degrees, so that won't feel very nice. And we're just going to cram all these in. And I can see there's some space down there that is not full. So we're going to have to add the brine and move them around a bit to fit these last ones in how we did earlier. So let's start with this. Just give our brine a little bit of a stir. And I don't know if I said, but I have no idea if this is going to be enough brine, if it's going to be enough jars, because this is the first time I've put these two together, so we're just going to see how it all turns out. I'm going to leave 1-inch headspace there as well. I do run out of brine, which I probably will, I will just whip up some more real quick. This brine does not have to boil for 20 minutes. You just need to bring it up to a boil. And I believe it was a 3-minute boil time. Now I think the recipe said this would fill 2-quart jars for fridge pickles, and you see I just about have 2-quart jars filled, and I'm already going to have more brine. I don't want to find my little tool to get out the air bubbles, so the back of a rubber spatula works well, and we're just going to move these around until we have a little bit more space, and hopefully fit in the rest of these real quick. Same thing on this side. Just kind of check that you don't have a bunch of spaces where you could fit another pickle for one. Another cucumber like that. And then check your headspace, remove or add if you need to. And then we are going to just put our lids, I can find the other one, on here, and our rings, and the heat from both should seal our jars. So we will go through and finish all of these, and I will show you at the end what everything looks like, and we will see if all the jars seal or not. That way you can make a decision on if this is a good thing for you. And so you know, when you put the jars in the oven, that does sterilize them, also heats them up. So I'm going to hurry up and continue so everything's still hot. Maybe put these on a towel over here out of the way so I don't have to move them in case I need to stick my jars back in the oven while I make some more brine. Okay, so back there you can see I've got 3 quarts done. That brine did 3 quarts and a bit. I didn't measure it, I just threw everything in and started another double batch of brine. So we can at least get 3 more quarts of these cucumbers sorted. And the heat from the brine, the hot lids, the hot rings, the hot jars should make these seal. And if they don't, I will find a space in my fridge for us to eat them, and they will not go to waste. We eat so many pickles, it's ridiculous, which is why I wanted to try and figure out a way that I could do this in a quick way where we would love the pickle crunch and eat the pickles, and even be able to do it after work one day and it not be so labor intensive for myself. We are at the last of the jars, and I had 2 more pickles that wouldn't fit in the quart jars that I was going to actually seal. So I just grabbed a little jar and crammed them all in there. And we're going to see if we have enough brine to put them in here. We're not going to worry about trying to get this one to seal, because I'm going to just let it cool and then we'll stick it in the fridge, because we are almost out of our fridge pickles. But I'm going to let this brine cool a little bit before I stick it in there, because that's the method that is used on the fridge pickles, to let the brine cool, then put it on the cucumbers. So I will do that later on when my brine is nice and cool. And it does look like, let me show you, it looks like we have plenty of brine. I don't know if you can see, looks like we have plenty enough brine for a little jar. And all that's ready, so I'll take you over here so you can have a closer look at all the pickles. We ended up with 7 quart jars of pickles. I don't think any of them have sealed yet. These only had just been done. This is from our second batch. I don't think that one's sealed, but I will check these later after I remove the ring and lift the top. And this is not an all-inclusive video for you guys about how to can. This is more about the recipe and the open kettle method that I'm trying out. So always remember to wipe your rims and hand tighten, things like that. That wasn't part of this video, but I think they look absolutely delicious. Look how pretty all those spices look. And we ended up with 2 of the slices and 5, excuse me, of the spears, plus the one that's going to go in the fridge just to be enjoyed now. Okay, so it's about an hour later. I came in and used up the rest of the brine. It was the perfect amount for this last bit of cucumbers that I needed to use up. And listen, y'all, they all sealed. I am so excited about that. So tomorrow, after they've cooled off, I'll take all the rings off and then I'll lift it by the lid to make sure it's got a super good seal, just to double make sure. And then after that, they will be stored without the rings as well and put on the shelf after I label what they are. And I am going to test them out, and I will let you know in a future video if they stay crispy or not. That way you know. So this is definitely quicker than water bath canning or other methods of preserving shelf-stable pickles. So I do like that. It also looks like it's leaving less dishes, which I also like. It's less of a mess because now my kitchen is a mess. So before I get to that, I just want to say thank you so much for spending time with me. If you like this video or this type of content at all, please hit like. And remember, we're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And there's a notification. If you want to know when I put out videos, you can click the bell and it will let you know that as well. And leave me a comment. Let me know what you like, what you dislike about this video. Anyway, see you on the next one. Love you. Bye-bye.